In Northeast Brazil, it's an area where you can knock on doors, you could like just talk to people in the streets, and you could baptize a lot. Like, it's not a question of whether or not you're going to baptize in this area. When I first got there, as a matter of fact, we had this rule where we had to do what was called contato de fogo, which is like a contact of fire, where you go, you talk to a random person in the street, and you invite them to be baptized right there. And they are very good about drilling this into the missionaries. Like, you be direct, you go for it. Don't just invite them to be baptized. Don't hesitate. Find a way to do it. Go. And for coming from the United States, that's a big eye opener. And coming back from Brazil, seeing how they don't do that here was a bit of an eye opener too, because it's kind of gets ingrained into you. Like, you have to be direct. You have to move them forward. But as much as that street contacting and stuff is important, where I found the most success and the most gratification was with working with members. That really has to be an essential part of any missionary, like no matter what area you go into. I remember we had this one area in Parque das Dunas where we were opening the area. This area had 2 missionaries there, and both of them left. So me and my companion got to the area, didn't know anything about it, didn't know any of the members. We got lost wandering around for 20 minutes trying to find the bishop's house. Turns out it was 2 streets up that way, like 5 minutes. We just couldn't, because we were trying to figure things out. And so we were in this situation where we needed the members, and that was the only way we were going to have success. And this area, like, we talked to the bishop, and he's like, yeah, we usually have like 1 baptism a month, it's okay. And my mission companion, he'd just come off of 1 transfer where he baptized 10 people. So you have an idea, and that was a really, really good transfer. But this is not, it's not one of these missions where you just baptize 1 person your whole mission. So my mission companion was like, you know what, we're going to help you raise this bar. We're going to aim for 3 a month, which is now, I think, in the mission, that's what they aim for typically as a minimum. And so where we started trying to do some things, and I had remembered that the mission president talked about at a fireside how, like, in the interior areas they were doing English lessons, offering these English lessons. And so we suggested that as an idea to the bishop, and the bishop's like, oh yeah, that's great, that's awesome, I love that idea. Here, give me the little some materials, and I'll make copies, and we'll do lessons and make all this. And we seemed like, okay, cool, sounds like a great idea. So we went, and they gave you like English training books as a missionary, and so we gave those to the bishop, and we waited, and we waited. 2 or 3 weeks went by. Hey bishop, how about that language thingy? Oh yeah, we'll get to that, bishop. So all this time we're having a little bit of success. We're getting to know the members a little bit better. But I was still wondering, like, why isn't this working? The mission President Suarez, he said that this worked. And so then we went to another zone conference, and he's like, elders, you remember when I talked about that idea about the English lessons that are having so much success in the interior? You know why those were so successful? Because that wasn't the missionary's idea. The bishop came to the missionaries and said, elders, we should do English lessons. And the elders were like, you know what, I've never really done English lessons. Let's go for it. And they went behind what the bishop had said, and the blessings came. They had lots of investigators coming to church and loads of baptisms. And so I was like, okay, that's probably why this didn't work out. Next week, the bishop, he comes to us and he's like, okay, elders, we're going to do a fast for missionary work in the ward. For the missionary work. And I was like, wow, where did this come from? Okay. And he just laid out this idea. It's like, okay, Fast Sunday is in 2 weeks. I've already talked to the Elders Quorum president, the Relief Society president. We're going to have food. There's going to be a big barbecue. We're going to invite all the less active families. And I just need you to bring investigators. And we're like, okay, Bishop, that's great. Sounds good. So we went, and we started, getting ready for this, and we didn't do a ton, but we invited a couple people. And during the course of this whole period of like leading up to this, because this was like a month and a half, we'd already been there for a transfer when he finally this happened. We'd been visiting with the different members, and just kind of we left them. We had this thing where we'd leave them a blessing. We'd fold up a piece of paper and write a blessing inside, because we used, as missionaries, we can make promises to people, and it's written in Doctrine and Covenants how the word of my servant shall be the will of the Lord, and it shall be done. And so my companion had this brilliant idea. It's like we would write a blessing inside the piece of paper and fold it up and say, here is your blessing. This will happen, but you have to bring one person to church on Sunday, and then you can open it. If you open it beforehand, it's not going to happen. And so all these members would start getting excited about their blessings and curious, wanting to know what it was. And we would tell them, put it on their fridge, don't open it. And so that kind of got them excited. And the other thing is, my mission president, my companion, he was looking through the training material, and he was looking through things that we were doing and we could improve on. He's like, you know what? Kneeling in prayer. That's something that we don't, we do here in the house. We always do it when we leave, when we come. But we don't do it as much with our investigators or even with the members, So let's do that. And so we started this habit of every time when we would leave, we would ask the members if we could kneel. And it was really cool to see, after 2 or 3 times it was going over to the members, they would expect it. They would ask, okay, we're going to kneel now for prayer, and to feel that spirit, to feel that excitement that they had for the work. And then when finally the day arrived for this fast, this big event that they were going to do, and it was really well organized. The Elders Quorum president had this churrasco, which is barbecue, and you don't get, meat is really expensive up there. So whenever they do barbecue, it's a big deal. And they invited all the ward members so that we would start our fast together with this big meal, and then on the Sunday they'd have a meal after church for everyone to break their fast. And they were going to have a baptism for one of the members' kids, so it wouldn't count for us or anything, but we showed up, and the attendance was great. We had 2 or 3 less active families that we didn't even know about. A lot of investigators. Really, there was this one a friend, his name was Carlon, he was a friend of the Elders Quorum president. I'll talk a little bit more about him in a bit, that was there, and a lot of really, really good investigators. But it was really touching for me to see. Before we ate, the bishop asked my companion to give the prayer, and the whole ward in that cultural hall get down on their knees as we prayed for the mission work in that ward. And the spirit that was there, I'll never forget just looking out at everyone kneeling and just participating in this. And then afterwards, the work was so easy. We would come to church with none of our, we'd not found anyone in the streets, no work, no luck finding investigators with contacts or anything. And there'd be 3 investigators. There'd be people that we had never seen in our lives that were friends. This guy, Carlon. Carlon he lived on, like I said, the Elders Quorum President Street. He was about 65, and about 20 years ago, he was a evangelist pastor. He was very hardcore into the evangelist religions, and he was married, had 2 or 3 kids. And what happened was, he was in this church, very well involved, and then his wife decided, you know what, I'm tired of this church, I'll go to another one. And so he was split between this, do I follow my religion, do I follow my family? He decided, I'm going to follow my family. And so he went, and same process, he worked from the bottom up, just went almost assistant to the pastor. His wife was there, and she's like, you know what, I'm tired of this one, gonna go to another church. So again, he was like, okay, well, we'll do it again. He follows his wife, and this happened, I think this is the last time, the 3rd time, and finally their relationship starts going downhill. They stop talking to each other. Finally, at some point during this, he was a sign painter. He works as a sign painter, and he would see the missionaries walking by every day. And he was curious And so he asked them, if he could learn a little bit about the lessons. And so the missionaries were sure. So they came, they taught him all the lessons, taught him everything. He went to church. He was very, very, he understood, he had a testimony. And the bishop came to his house and asked him, will you be baptized? The church needs you. You are a leader. And he said, you know what? I would do it, except that my family is here. And my life, my family, everything is here in the church. And, well, a couple years passed, and that relationship started going downhill with his wife until finally his life left him. And his son left him too. And so when this fast came along, he was living all alone with a teeny tiny little poodle that was blind. Just him and the poodle, and work was slow, and everything looked like really, really dark. And so Elders Quorum President goes, invites him to come to this activity. And he saw it and was just really wanted to know more, really wanted to be baptized. He knew it, and within 2 or 3 weeks he was baptized. And I remember the week after was the Fast Sunday. I think actually this might have been before the fast, the Word Fast, or maybe, yeah, it was before the Word Fast happened. But that Sunday of the Word Fast was his first Fast and Testimony meeting, the first time that he was confirmed. And he said something to us afterwards. He was like, elders, people don't talk like that. And we're like, what are you talking about, Carlo? He was like, you go up there and you say, I know that the church is true. I know that this is the only true church on the face of the earth. He says, people don't talk like that. And we're like, what are you talking about, Carlo? And Carlo's like, well, I've been to dozens of different congregations, and I have heard loads and loads of people go up on the pulpit and preach about their religion and be very passionate and fiery, but I've never heard a single one of them say, I know this is the only true church on the earth. And that really hit home to me. It's like, how often do we think about that simple phrase? How many times do we hear it in sacrament meeting? I know that this is the true church. I hear it about a dozen times. But for someone who had come from the outside, this was, wow. For you to know and have absolute certainty that this is the only true church on the face of the earth. And as he started to grow, we would talk to him over the course, and he's like, elders, being baptized has been the best thing for me. Because within a week, I had a month before I was baptized where I had nothing. No jobs, no one asking me to come paint their signs or anything. 1 week after I'm baptized, I have enough work to last me through the end of the year and a month after that. I'm going to have to hire on more help because I'm so overwhelmed. And then after we had this fast, every week we had a baptism. And it was like clockwork. We would have someone that was just getting ready, and the members started to get excited about the work. We left that area, and it split. They brought in another companionship of elders to help, because there was so much, we had so much success there. Now that I'm home, you think about the people that you baptized, and you think about the work that you've done. And, I don't count. I try not to keep numbers. But of the people that I baptized, I know a good number of them are not active. Retention is a really big problem in the Northeast for various reasons. And, you think a lot about these people. You develop a relationship with them. At least I did. And you really love them, and it's hard, because it's no longer, they're right there, you see them every day, every week, and you ask them, how you doing, can I answer your questions? You're on the other side of the world, and the most contact you have with them is maybe a Facebook message. And it's been so long since you've talked to them. The only thing you can talk about is, you're reading your scriptures, you're going to church, it's no longer that friendly relationship that you had. And so something that I started to realize, especially at the end of my mission, was the need to work with the members. Because they could be baptized. Those people could be baptized. But the only way that they were going to stay active and that they were going to show a major progression in the church was if they went to the temple, was if they continued and they had that integration with the members. And that's where I find a lot of my joy, is like knowing that the members were involved from day one and that they're still doing it. I still talk to the Relief Society president in that area, different members, because I have a lot of joy in helping them be involved in the work, and knowing that I don't have to spend my days and my evenings, and I still do. I still think a lot about them. I pray a lot about them, about these people and their needs. But I know that there's someone that is right there that really can watch over and can help them. And it's something that I think a lot of missionaries don't think about. They think about the moment when, the baptismal font, the baptism, and the dressed in white. But a lot of them don't have that long-term vision. And that's something that the mission president started putting in towards the end of my mission. Is the fact that we need to have the vision of bringing these people to the temple. That is your ultimate goal. And for most missionaries, that is a goal you're not going to see. That is something that you're going to be at home, you're going to be studying, you might be married, and you'll get a picture. And that's the happiest moment of my mission. It's not, I could think of countless times when I was next to a baptismal font, and that was happy, that was a great moment. But the ones that I really, really remember are someone coming to me and saying, I went to the temple, I did baptism for the dead. When I came home and found some families, people that I had taught, that they had pictures on Facebook, on their profile, on their background picture of the temple in Recife. And just, I don't think it's exactly what Ammon felt when he was completely overpowered, like he'd lost all feeling in his body. But I imagine that if I could take 2% of that feeling, that's about what I felt. And it was probably the best experience. That I'll never forget those.